Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to the alpha for Warhammer 40k Dark Heresy. As today, the end of the alpha looms, and thus it's time to usher our investigation to an end. I've had a lot of fun poking at the priors and particulars of the new setting and systems, but you know, now we set that aside and simply seek closure. We've already got a pretty good idea of who done it as far as Agent Screg is concerned. But it would be nice if we could find something definitive outside of our mere hunches. Plus, we still need to solve the mystery of the missing workers as well. That said, let's follow our last few leads. Several of the servo skulls clinging to the mechanism adjust their lenses, focusing on you. Detecting repeat presence of an Inquisition servant. Initiating layperson greeting. And to you as well. Listen, a bit of an ask, but the local tribe of Xenos are seeking safe passage through your territory. They've agreed to leave you and your tech be. Layperson Echo Light has diminished the security functions of the Servo Congregator. Incursion by a third party, Xenos clan, into security system perimeters constitutes a threat elevated to protected data. Request denied. Look, they know not to mess with you. They've already agreed to leave you be. They just want to pass through. And once they do, you won't have to deal with them anymore. They'll be gone. And hey, I'll owe you, okay? The layperson is conducting dealings with the Xenos. Fact recorded and archived. Request for service approved. Justification, preservation of acceptable operational status of the Servo Congregator security functions. The clan is granted sanctioned temporary access within the security perimeter of the sacred mechanism. Hey, I knew you'd come around. Glad it didn't leave you stumped. All right. That was easy. On to loose end number 2. Skrahat smells blood. Her blood. Ugata, how could you? Why? Skrahat will keep your strands. They will return in my fledglings. Blood burns, bones cracks. Did you kill her? The Groot clutches his head and sways, but no longer tries to attack. It seems the madness has subsided before it even began. Hey, Skrahat, so you seemed a bit out of sorts there for about 5 seconds. What was that all about? You doing okay? Sorry about Ukata, by the way. The Groot looks at you, his gaze devoid of hunger, filled only with endless exhaustion. The blood burned. Skrahat could not resist, did not want to. Ukata's flesh ignited fire within. But why? Skrahat does not understand. Really? I mean, I feel like it's pretty obvious, but tell me more. It smells of Ukata, and it does not smell of her. Strange, like withered soft skins. But there are no soft-skinned corpses nearby. Skrahat does not understand. Yeah, well, maybe that's for the best. You at least seem to have come to your senses, so, you know. Get back to your kin. It's not safe out here. The Groot nods slowly. Skrahat is grateful. Skrahat will no longer take strands from your vein and anger the roots. Now, Ukata's strands must be kept, passed to the young, Oh, buddy, that sounds like an awful idea, but I mean, you do you, I guess. The peony watches the departing Kroot with unusual melancholy. Even Xenos know how to honor their own. Noticing her gaze, she quickly shakes her head. Apologies, I was distracted. Interesting. And since we're already here, let's go ahead and check out that door. Lead number 3. Ah, and we do in fact have another option. Though not with the ring, we have the option to stick the aluminum tattooed finger into the hole. Perhaps the access key is hidden in his tattoo? A digital code, so to speak. You gently push back the index finger of the severed hand, meeting the slight resistance of rigor mortis. The finger slides into the hole easily, leaving pieces of skin around the opening. For a second, nothing happens. But then the Elect 2 on the hand glows brightly, and you smell the choking stench of burning flesh. You jerk the hand back and see a grid of charred grooves forming on the finger. Ah, okay, well, let's maybe not put our own finger in there. Man, so if it's not that, then what is it? And also, what's the ring for? Oh, you know what? Actually, in retrospect, I'll bet the ring was our other means of decrypting Agent Scragg's tattoos, if for some reason we hadn't been able to convince the tree to decrypt it for us. Right, it would make sense for them to give us multiple means of obtaining what feels like a pretty vital clue. And speaking of clues, let's have a quick review here. Oh, right, that wasn't a clue, that was a potential hypothesis. The scouts were driven mad and attacked the Warshaper in the swamp. He slew them. Yes, I will say that is true. Which, in turn, gives us access to another conclusion. Let's see what that is. Interesting, that seems to track straight through Decoded Elect 2. Not sure why those would be related. Oh, they're not. Okay, it's just passing through coincidentally. Fair enough, things are getting a mite bit cluttered here. Alright, so what do we have here? The Warshaper was aware of the Kroot's bouts of madness, but attempted to conceal this fact by hiding the inedible remains. Yes. I think it's pretty safe to say that as well. Which leads to another potential conclusion. The agent spied on the Warshaper and witnessed him hiding the remains of his kin in the swamp. For this, the Warshaper killed him. Maybe, I don't know, maybe. Still kind of leaning ooh here, but yeah, maybe. The Gregesum-infused flesh of the slain Kroot can induce madness in their kin. Yes, we literally just witnessed it, sort of. So that's a pretty safe lock-in. And submerged Kroot remains. After the ritual consumption of his mate's flesh, the hunter Skrahat flew into a frenzy and attacked the investigating acolyte. If you say so. So nothing major there, but we did get some important stuff locked in. Let's follow up on our fourth and final lead. I mean, look, I don't necessarily want to hand Maul over to the Kroot, but also I would like to gather more info, so between the two, I've got to say that info probably wins out, given that Maul didn't really do much to endear us. Not like our boy Cog. Might as well check in with Millie while we're here. Do you have anything to report? Yeah, just checking in. I found your agent. Or at least what was left of him. Millicentilia says nothing for several seconds, her expression impenetrable. Then her eyebrow twitches slightly. That is a shame. Do you already know who killed him? I've got a couple of suspects, but I'm not ready to lock one in just yet. Then why are you still here? Just figured I'd check in. Do you have any idea what this is? Gergesum. Millicentilia wrinkles her nose at the pungent smell coming from the injector. A combat stimulant. It is manufactured by the Baron, the head of the local gang. Quite successfully, I should admit. Ah, so you already know about that then. And the Xenos in the swamp? Naturally. I've known about them from the moment they came to this Hab zone. The Kroot are known for serving as good mercenaries, and the Inquisition has made use of them on numerous occasions. This clan is not in the best shape, which is why it was put under surveillance. Its usefulness remains to be determined. Right, thus explaining Scragg's interest in determining just that. Alright, okay, that gives us some interesting context, if not necessarily much in the way of actionable intel. Also, nothing we could mention about Maul or the Ring, so I guess we'll just help ourselves. Hey, big guy. You said you were frustrated about not being able to go out to the bog to kill bandits and beasts, right? Well, I think we're pretty much done with you here, so if you'd like to head out there now, you're welcome to do so. Several moments drag on in complete silence, until eventually the Ogryn nods. That's easy. Sorry, bud. Such is the nature of Imperial service. Even if it is a bit hard to swallow. Since we're already here, might as well swing by Septima's camp as well. See if she's got anything for us. Sister Septima looks up at you as you approach. You know the definition of heresy, do you not, Acolyte? Sister Septima's voice trembles with barely contained anger. Consorting with the enemies of humanity is heresy. Concealing the enemies of humanity is heresy. Did you hope to hide from me the fact that a Xenos has come into your retinue and now walks freely through Merisportum? Your hope was misplaced and utterly in vain. We've killed a bunch of your guys, so I figured you'd find out at some point, yeah? And now you have dragged this abomination before my eyes. Septima levels a cool, contemptuous gaze at Larthier. Mark my words, Xenos. Come the hour, my blade will end your filthy life in his name. To this day, threats like yours have remained mere words. To kill me will be far more difficult than your pride would allow, Monkey. Wow, Lar, getting pretty gutsy. Usually he waits on the edge of camp. And yeah, we're pretty much done with Septima. Nothing new there. Let me hit up the vendors real quick, then we'll get back to the bog. And we're back with a few new items to show. Including Spiked Bracers for Cog. Inflicts damage to anyone who strikes him in melee. Followed by Way Seeker's Boots for Larthir. A flat +10 willpower bonus. The Surgeon's Boots for a Peony, which grants extra movement points whenever she heals or buffs someone with her one space range abilities. And Psyker's Sandals for Sorrow, which grants a modest damage boost based on Veil Degradation. Obviously nothing all that game breaking, but you know, we had the slots, we had the cash. Figured, might as well. Hopefully we'll have at least 1 or 2 more fights so we can put that stuff to use, but we'll see how things go. Scrawhut? Scrawhut stands in the same spot where you first met him, yet something about his presence has subtly changed. The Xeno stands more assuredly now. A bone amulet hangs from his chest. Seeing you, the Kroot emits a greeting rasp, almost as if you were kin. Interesting. So is that the effects of Ukata, or the Gergesum? Honestly, might almost imply that Kroic is kind of right. That those who do survive exposure come out stronger on the other end, though obviously any gains there would be offset by the loss of all who couldn't. Softskin. The Kroot's quills twitch with excitement. You have driven good prey into the Vane's territory. A big-headed Otvaka. The hunters caught it and brought it to the roost. I did not think you would do it. I will remember this. Yeah, so does that mean you're ready to answer the rest of my questions? Because I've got a few. Starting with your clan. You ready to share more info? You were useful. A little. I will answer. A little. Great. So, let's start with the basics. How'd you end up in a place like Merisportum? We wandered through tunnels after leaving the old roost, until we ended up here. In the tunnels, we absorbed the strands of small creatures that see in darkness and hear the trembling of the air. That is how we hunted. But it was not enough. Hunger came. The migration was long, and many of my blood sacrificed themselves to sustain the hunters. You came into our roost without fear. Do you think us weak? Know this, Otvaka. The strongest of my blood survived, and the Tick Vane is no prey. The traditions and nature of the Xenos are aberrant to the citizens of the Imperium. However, given our cultural differences and their reverence for genetic material as the ultimate commodity, their act could be considered noble. The Warshaper looks at the surgeon in surprise, then nods at her restrainedly. Otvaka with the metal hand, you gaze into the essence of our life. So if I'm hearing this correctly, you fed on your weak to survive the trip through the tunnels? For my blood to be consumed for the good of the Vane is a great honor. I personally divided the flesh of the sick and wounded among the kin band. They had good strands, but their bodies had worn out from the long march. Now their strands are part of us, and together we found a path to new hunting grounds and built a new roost. Their sacrifice will be remembered. Okay, well, how about this? If you only eat people with strong strands, and you hold humans in such contempt, then why bother eating them? When we came out of the tunnels into this territory, the Antvaka attacked us. By the right of the Predator, Lone Eye's Vein fought much more fiercely than the other softskins. My brother was forced to make a pact. We divided the territory between the Tick Vein and Lone Eye's Vein. We stay in the swamps. We can consume the strands of those who do not serve Lone Eye. They are few. Their strands are weak. Lone Eye remains on the cliffs by the sea. Right, but that doesn't really answer my question. You even said it yourself, the humans left outside of Lone Eye's territory are weak, so why bother eating them at all? Just to survive? The pact with Lone Eye allowed us to hunt softskins beyond the town, those who displeased him. But our vein craved more flesh. Even the outsider who dealt with Tick understood this. He advised my brother that we should hunt Lone Eye's warriors, that their meat was the strongest. Ah, thus explaining the attack at the excavation site, right? Yep, okay. That tracks. Though, this, I think, is the first time anyone's mentioned that the Flesh Shaper was explicitly aware of it, that they had broken the pact and were eating Gergesum-tainted meat. Yeah, I heard about your hunt. I also heard that apparently it didn't go so well. That you were the only one who actually made it back to camp. Any idea what happened to Ukata or the others? Ukata is in my scout kin band, but these lands are dangerous even for my blood. She lacked the skill. The swamp took her, swallowed her whole. I saw it with my own eyes. Now her strands belong to the swamp. This is the way the leaves fall. Saw it with your own eyes, huh? Might want to get those checked, because I actually found Ukata and the rest of your scouting kin band. Torn to pieces, hidden in the swamp. Also a picture of you putting them there. But hey, I'm sure if you did kill them, it was just in, say, self-defense? Perhaps they went mad, like your other kin here? And you were forced to defend yourself? You meddle in matters that are not yours, Antvaka. The Shaper's quills bristle. We were in the swamp hunting the softskins of Lone Eye's pack. Ukata and Grok devoured much fine flesh. But as we returned to the roost with our kill, they suddenly turned on each other. I tried to separate them, but they were maddened. They did not hear. They attacked. I am strong, so I survived. I returned to the roost with the kill. Alone. So what you're saying is that you knew eating tainted human meat would cause your kin to go mad. You took pains to hide that from your kin. I knew my brother would start worrying and imposing new prohibitions. The Vein does not need new prohibitions. What the Vein needs is a strong kin band. Ukata and Grok were weak. They could not adapt to the rage carried by the softskins of Lone Eye's pack. The Vein must not feed on weak strands, so I gave their bodies to the swamp. To avoid panic in the roost. To help the Vein adapt. To ensure the strong survived. The rage, you say? Tell me, do you have any idea what this is? What was kept inside? Fragile glass. My blood do not carry such things. They prefer reliable vessels for potions. Caw! And it smells foul. Like soft-skinned hides with strong strands. Right, and it doesn't get much more obvious than that. Okay, so that does definitively tie the Kroot madness to Gergesum. Dude just straight up said the Gergesum smells like the mighty warriors of the Lonai vein that he's intent on consuming. I mean, again, we'd already figured out as much, but it is good to get it all on the board, since I assume it's tied to the various conclusions and hypotheses we can draw. The Kroot compare the scent of the injector to the sour stench emanating from the sweat-drenched bodies of the Baron's gang members. Conclusion. On the Flesh Shaper's orders, the clan feasted on the Baron's gang members and grew stronger. Oh, wait, well that's a bit of a permutation of what he actually told us. Did Uir actually tell them to do it? Because the impression I got was that he simply was aware, not necessarily that he ordered it. Oh yeah, right there. The agent convinced the Flesh Shaper that the flesh of the Baron's men could enhance the clan's strands. On the Shaper's orders, the clan feasted on the gang members and grew stronger. Okay, well that is not exactly what he told us, but it is now locked into our clue board, so I mean, we'll take it at face value. Yeah, I mean, that sounds accurate, I guess. Which I mean, ultimately does still kind of hone us in on Uir as our primary suspect, since if he was actively convinced and then subsequently found out that those strands were in fact bad and killing his people, which he does seem to now know, given that he's forbidden them from eating it, it would give him all the more reason to kill Scrag for tricking him into doing it, which is exactly what this conclusion states. I am tempted to lock it in, but I feel like we still need that one last bit of evidence to really kind of confirm it. Evidence that he was wounded during their final struggle. Though unfortunately, I have no real idea how to find that, aside from just, I guess, continuing to interact with them until we potentially see it ourselves. Like perhaps he'll make a move at some point that'll let us get a glimpse. Let's go see what he has to say. I mean, I do still think it's him, but it could arguably be Kroak. I sense new strands in the roost. The Kroot's beak twitches as he sees the Ogren. You have brought a big-headed Otvaka for Kroak. Good strands, full of strength. My brother wants him to fight during the ritual, but it is better that the awakened one fights one of his own blood. We will see what the future brings us. Oh, interesting. Okay, so maybe Maul will live through this after all. About your tree. Have you tamed it? Have you aided the vein? I have. I asked nicely and he decided to leave you be. Assuming, of course, you won't try picking any fights. This is good news. A welcome change. You have helped protect the vein from yet another danger, Softskin. I will remember this. The Kroot hands you a rough bundle. Take it. A gift. A sign of my favor toward you. Guardian of Flesh. A Kroot-only item that grants a chance to ignore incoming melee damage. I mean, not bad, but Kroot-only. Thanks, you shouldn't have. Sorry to pry, but what exactly is it that you're stewing on over here? The water of memory. I am brewing it, preparing it for the ritual. It will help Chichenok awaken the strands of the roots within him. Do not touch it, Softskin. Do not break the sanctity of its steeping. Yeah, no worries on that count. Though I would love to know more about this ritual of the roots, if you're ready to share. The Tick Vein is ready for the ritual. Soon the roots will reveal themselves in the Awakened One. We might be retreading here. Tell me about the Awakened One. Within each of us, the strands of the roots grow, but there are some in whom they rise to the surface. Within them, the patterns of the finest endure. Within them, ancient warriors and hunters are reborn. We discern their talents when they are no more than shoots, and so it was with Chichenok. My brother and I, we have been nurturing memories of the past within him, preparing him for awakening. If the future Awakened One is fed only the finest strands, he may unlock all of the memories of the slumbering root. And now, in the Vein's hour of hardship, his time has come. Sure, yeah, you and your brother seem to be at odds. One endorsing attack, the other retreat. So it does seem like you're in dire need of a tiebreaker. Which, in theory, I guess the Mad Leader might have served? The one we killed when we first arrived? Croak and I are children of the same strand, bound by the same fate. We may hold different views, see different paths, yet saving the Vein is our greatest purpose. And this we never forget. This is how our lives are woven. This is the way the leaves fall. Sure. So if you don't mind me asking, where exactly did you and your kin come from? Our Vein came from the Spinward Front long before my brother and I were born. It wandered across many worlds. Shaper Ruktar struck a bargain with the Atvaka, but our roots grow from the nest world of Pact. I hope that the hatchlings of our hatchlings may one day return home and bring back good strands. So you've come a long way. How'd you end up in a place like Merisportum? We once lived elsewhere. The Atvaka called it the Solaris Sectoris. The Vein fed well there. There was much work. Then came Atvaka warriors from the Fusilier Pact, and they set the whole Hab Zone ablaze. Holmes, other Atvaka, my blood. We were forced to migrate. We consumed the weak and infirm, gathered our belongings, and left for the tunnels, seeking a new roost. Right, thus explaining the Fusilier gear we found over yonder, mixed in with their other trophies. We wandered for a long time before emerging into these accursed lands. They of my blood were starving and threw themselves at the first flesh they could find. It was the Atvaka who lived in fabric dwellings. Then we began eating the softskins who wore a second hard skin over their own. You call them divers. And then Lonai came and made war upon us. We had to retreat. That was when I went to Lonai and proposed a pact. We would eat only those Atvaka who lived in the swamp, and he would not trespass on the roost's borders. He agreed. That is the way the leaves fell, and that is how we lived. Right. I was going to ask about that. I found Imperial uniforms hanging with your other trophies. I've got to say, that's an awfully bold thing to keep on display. Do not blame us for what was not our doing, Advaka. We consumed none without permission. It was different. The Shaper turns toward the colossal pipes leading into the hab zone, then continues pensively. 3 generations ago, on the Spinward front, our Vane made a pact with the softskins of Scintilla. You call their pack Fusiliers. Together we waged war in the Calixi sector, and we fought fiercely. For this we were allowed to dwell beneath your great roost. Yes. It was fine at first, living at the bottom of the soft-skin roost. The Fusilier Shaper sent us strong warriors from his 33rd pack. We consumed them, grew stronger, and fought for you. Then, times changed. We were given less work, sent less food. Then a pack of Fusiliers came with fire and death to burn the softskins, and with them, our roost, too. The Vane was forced to migrate. The 33rd, have we, which group was Cog from? It's been a while. Though honestly, this is starting to feel like it's something that might not be directly related to everything else that's going on here. The Softskins betrayed the Pact, and we remember this. But we keep the bones of the honored warriors who nourished the Vane, to honor their memory. Such is the story of the Vane. This is the way the leaves fall. Yes. So you're telling me that the Fusiliers are the ones who brought you to Scintilla in the first place? And that they fed you their own men to make you stronger? You think Uir Tik lies? That pact has been passed from Shaper of the Vane to Shaper for 3 generations. And I am its current keeper. See for yourself. The Kroot pulls a fragile parchment from a worn satchel, bearing the crest of the Scintillan Fusiliers. After showing it to you, he quickly stows the document away once more. Oh, okay, so you've got proof. You know, given that the pact was broken already anyway, why don't you give that to me? Perhaps I can find a use for it. Something that might help both of us. No, Softskin. That scrap of paper has saved the Vane from many of your kind's attacks. Even if the Fusilier Shaper is no longer honoring the pact, it remains important. Oh man, I'm tempted to go for it, but, I mean, obviously... Well, maybe not obviously, but it does really feel like something that moves beyond the scope of the current alpha. So you guys also eat your enemies, right? We consume those whose flesh can aid the Vane. Beast, fish, soft skin, or another Kroot. To be eaten is a great honor. It means your strands are worthy and will serve the future of the Kroot, even if you are an enemy. Pray. Including humans. Not all, only those whose strands are strong, those who help the Vane grow. In this accursed land we found such ones. The honored Otvaka, Rufinus Scragg, helped us find useful softskins among the pack of Baron Lonai. Their flesh seemed noble, strong, and so we consumed it. Oh, okay. Confirmed a few things there. And how exactly do you tell whose flesh is worth eating and whose isn't? By scent, taste, movement, and way of thought. We eat those who are worthy, who have become the best or were born so. The fastest, the bravest, the smartest. In the cold lands, we will eat the beasts that survive eternal frost. On the cliffs, we will consume the strands of birds or mountain creatures. It is the fate of the Flesh Shaper to identify worthy strands and discard the foul ones. Well, you know, as distasteful as I might personally find that, I suppose I can't really disagree. There are some grim parallels there between that and serving the Imperium. Then there is no disagreement between us. Yeah, so it would seem. You know, unless you did something crazy like kill an agent of the Inquisition. But you wouldn't do that. Though, you know, as long as we're on the subject, I don't suppose you know a man named Rufinus Scragg? I mean, I'm pretty sure you just name-dropped him a second ago. The Kroot's gleaming black eyes study you for a moment. You fought alongside my brother against those of my blood stricken with madness. You helped him. I will answer this question. Yes, such a softskin was here. Polite, intelligent. You remind me of him. He inquired about our traditions, aided the Vayne greatly, pointed out good hunting grounds. For that, I gave him the title of Honored Advaka. And all would have been well if he had not frequented the Inedibles camp so often. Each time he returned, smelling of the exile's strands. And just out of curiosity, when's the last time you saw old Scragg? Several fallen leaves ago in the roost after our kinband's hunt on Lone Eye's men near the dug-up caves. He appeared suddenly, gathered his belongings, and left. Quickly. Did he say anything strange, then or any time prior? Anything that stood out? No. He asked many questions about the inedible, the kinband, the swamps. Not all of my blood are keen on speaking with outsiders, but this one was respectful. We spoke of a new pact. The Xenos eyes you warily. A contract. Mercenary work. The discussion was not finished. A new pact, you say? I don't suppose you could share the details. Perhaps we could pick up where he left off. Not now, soft skin. The Vayne is at a crossroads. We must choose the right branch for our development. After that, perhaps we will speak of cooperation. And the cost. And the inedible. How exactly do they fit into all this? The creature broke the covenants of the roots, and my covenants. It lived alone in the swamps. Softskins should not have gone to its camp, should not have had dealings with it. It was dangerous. Okay, right, so now we are retreading. Well, you're right about one thing, Uwer. It is dangerous out there. I found Rufinus, dead, torn to pieces, scattered across the swamp. Pretty sure it's not the inedible who did him in, though. The Kroot's face remains unreadable. It is difficult to tell what he feels about this news. So, that is the way the leaves have fallen. A shame. The Honored Advaka was a fine warrior. He knew much. Respected the Vayne. Yeah, he sounds like quite a guy. Any idea what might have finally done him in? My brother was displeased with my attempt to build relations with the Softskin. He did not trust him. He believed the Softskin sought to uncover our weaknesses. The Vayne's hunters looked to Croak Tick. They'd follow his example. but they would not dare to attack an honored Otvaka. To defy me. Oh, wow, he's kind of low-key throwing his brother under the bus. Interesting. I mean, there's not many other ways to read that. That was his response to my direct question of, what do you think killed Scrag? All right, noted. I'll keep that in mind. Thanks. But, you know, I should also say that Scrag's not the only thing I found out there. I also found a few of your kin, also torn to pieces. Your scouting party, I think. The ones accompanying Kroic. The Shaper abruptly leans forward, sniffing at your bag. Why do you carry the flesh of those of my blood? This is wrong. Their strands belong to the vein. Return them. Now! Yeah, sure, of course. Here. The soft skin respects the vein's customs. The vein will remember. The Shaper sniffs the remains, grimaces strangely, and sets them aside, away from the communal pile. Because he can tell that they're tainted. Anything else we can glean here? I feel like this is something we already saw. Yeah, that all looks familiar. Right, yes, okay, we've definitely seen that. Okay, yeah, I guess that's it. Not much else to glean for the moment, though some of the things he said may give us reason to revisit Kroic, perhaps. The biggest thing I feel like he revealed was the existence of the old contract, the one that brought the Kroot here in the first place. Also... Ooh, okay. Shoot, I really don't want to... Nice. Before you stands a cauldron covered in primitive symbols, etched by the Xenos. Inside, a murky concoction bubbles lazily, its aroma thick with herbs and a sickly sweet note of decay. The camp moves with its own rhythm. Hunters tend to their weapons and lick their wounds. The Flesh Shaper stares into the distance, lost in thought. For a few fleeting moments, it seems you have been forgotten. Bubbles rise from the depths, distorting your view of the cauldron's contents. You lean closer. Skulls rest at the bottom, including one bearing the telltale marks of augmentation, and all are stuffed with tufts of herbs and strands of kelp. Hey, what exactly am I looking at here? The Kroot gestures toward the cauldron, then presses both hands against its temples. The Xenos rubs its head briefly before spreading its hands wide, as if illustrating an expanding perception. It appears this brew serves some ritualistic purpose. Okay, and then obviously we've got a few other options there, none of which seem like particularly good ideas given the circumstances, but certainly things to keep in mind, I suppose. But for now, I feel like we've exhausted what the Kroot camp might have to offer. Though I will give it another once-over, just to be absolutely sure. Man, so we were never given a chance to try to confirm whether or not the Flesh Shaper has in fact been burned. All we know for certain is that their movements are somewhat stiff. but any injury they may have suffered was obscured by their armor. Though again, it is worth noting we found damaged armor discarded in the swamp. Oh, right, we didn't, we should probably ask again if they're willing to let us stick around for the ritual. But we'll save that for next time. For now, let's just review our new clues, including one for our missing workers. The Baron's gang decimated the Kroot clan and forced them out into the swamps, greatly weakening the Xenos. According to the pact between the Baron and the Kroot, the Xenos are entitled to eat only the swamp dwellers. In return, the Baron promised to respect the borders of the clan's settlement. Interesting. Why would that be put over here? Unless it is, in fact, tied into the workers' fate. We did see a skull with signs of augmentation in their brew. So that might actually be the fate of the workers. If they wandered outside the safety of Mirasportum, by choice or otherwise, the Kroot would see them as fair game as per their deal with the Baron. The Shapers of the Kroot sense foul strands and forbid the consumption of unwanted flesh. Kroic believes the agent was attempting to uncover the clan's weaknesses. According to Uir. Which may or may not be true, but I mean, I don't know how much bearing it actually has on the overall case. It's already pretty well established that Kroic is hostile towards humans, which would make him a good scapegoat, assuming he didn't actually do it, which, again, he might have. I mean, all we know for certain is that the killer is, in fact, a Kroot. We saw that in the psychic vision. That's pretty indisputable. And that whoever it was presumably wounded by Scragg's pistol, a pistol that we subsequently found on our solitary Kroot, Ra'akti. Which I think they implied they found in the swamp whilst looking for Scragg. Which is believable, considering that that's also apparently where, like, his ring was found, and we just found him kind of all over the place. Man, so I mean, it's gotta be one of these two, Uir or Kroic, but we have yet to find anything definitive that conclusively points at one or the other. Kroic has plenty of motive, but he didn't have overt burns on his body, which in theory, Scragg's tricked out pistol would have left. It did mention he had, like, generic range weapon injuries, but that could have easily been from the fight with his own kin, since they were all using rifles and such as well. It's gotta be Uir, who is now basically trying to sacrifice his brother for the good of the tribe, which, to be fair, is something that both of them said is normal for Kroot. Really wish we had something more definitive, though. That said, we'll hit the pause button for now. I am going to give this place one more thorough search, and we'll pick up here next time. As one way or another, we get this packed up. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Eerie V23, Revenant, Alois, Arrow Bowman, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Lady Shayna, Mark Giemza, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Rowan Church, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus TG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.